What's up, YouTube? Today we're gonna be getting to the alternator on this Toyota pickup. So we're going to remove the intake tube, we're gonna remove the intake box, the center wire here, the plug, and well, let's start off with that and then we'll see what else we're gonna remove. We're only removing all this so we could get to the alternator, so we could see clearly if we're gonna have enough space for the power and ground runs for the high output alternator. If not, we would be able to just leave all this in place, but we want a clear view of how we're going to run the cables and where we're going to zip tie them and stuff, because it's going to be 4 runs of this welding wire that we showed you guys in the other videos. So we're going to do 2 grounds, 2 positives to this to the alternator. Let me grab the, I think this is a 10 millimeter, and we'll see what else we need. Oh, and we're gonna grab a little ice pick to like remove that clip. I was gonna pull this out. It's like a little piece of the intake tube that goes into the front of the port support. We're gonna use this little pick just to pry this out of the way so we won't break it. Like that. So we're gonna secure that clip in place. Now that we have that out the way, we're gonna remove this air intake box just to get a little, oh actually we don't even have to remove the clips. Well, actually let me check if the filter was replaced. I'm pretty sure we did replace it. Oh yeah, it's a brand new filter. We don't have to remove it from here. We could just get the, I believe those are 13 millimeters holding it in place. Let me try to secure that box again. So we're gonna toss the box in the trunk and we're gonna put the bolts back where they go just so we won't lose them. We always do that just so we can put everything back exactly how it came out. Now that we have that out the way, we're going to remove the power and ground wires that we already had done for this truck in the past. This alternator takes a 12 millimeter nut to the power, and it's gonna take a while. It's kind of tight in here. I got it loose, so that one's gonna come off, and then the ground, the extra ground cable that we have right there to the case. For us, that's an 8 millimeter, and obviously you guys aren't gonna have these cables on your stock alternator, but we do. We still ran the factory power cable to the alternator. We just ran it under the copper lug that we installed. I'm thinking we're gonna have a problem with this radiator hose, water pump hose, because the other alternator has the stud on top, so that might be an issue. Let me take this ground off, because either way you guys can't really see what I'm doing down here. Then I'll get these cables out the way. Also, we're going to remove this reservoir and cut the zip ties that we installed right here, so we can pull these cables out. Now we're going to loosen up the bolt that tied into that holds the alternator, will hold the tension on the alternator. I don't know if it's a 12 millimeter, but that's what we're using. It's a little loose, but it broke it loose. So, and I think we might have to order the adapter bracket for the high output alternators, because pretty sure this bracket is going to be a little too small. I don't know if that other bracket works with power steering or not, so that might be another issue that we're gonna be running into. So I'm gonna back this off as much as possible. I'm gonna back this off as much as possible, and I'm gonna have to remove it regardless. And from what I could remember is that when we installed this alternator, the radiator hose right here was a little too tight. Let's hope that's not an issue with the other one. I don't know what we would do about that, because there's no other way we could reroute that radiator hose. So now with that bolt completely loose, we're gonna get underneath the truck, and we have to loosen this bolt that runs through the alternator. We have to break it loose. I think we have to remove this hose if I'm not mistaken, and we might even have to remove this tube, because if we do order the other bracket, we have to remove it regardless to install the other bracket. But let's see what happens. I'm gonna break that loose, and then I'm gonna remove the serpentine belt and pull the radiator out. The alternator out, and then I'll put you guys back on. All right, so we finally got the alternator off. We unbolted this radiator hose. We loosened the nut on the other side of this bracket of the motor mount, sorry. And then we took out this bolt, took out the top bolt, basically these two bolts that go back here, and we were able to swing this out of the way. I'm not sure the aftermarket or adapter bracket replaces this, so we're gonna see if the new one fits in here. If not, either way we would have to remove this to put the adapter bracket on. We're about to compare the both alternators. Let me get the other one real quick. So this is the new unit, and this is the Jaguar unit right here. They look about the same. So the only difference that I'm seeing is that this is directly across, and this one it's a little tilted more towards this side. So I'm thinking we might need the adapter bracket to be able to adjust this alternator. Pulley looks to be about the same size. I should put them on the cardboard so we won't scratch up the new one, but the way you won't be able to see it much. This is from Autotech 240 amp alternator, and this is the 120 from a Jaguar. We did an install video. If you guys haven't seen that, make sure to go watch that. These bolt holes right here are about the same, in the same location. So this is what I was talking about right here. So like, I put this on the same spot, these lower mounting holes. You can see this one's more this way and this one's a little more that way. And also this, the power, the stud that goes here to the power, on this one it's up here. So I'm thinking it might interfere with the radiator hose, the upper one, the one that loops right there to that little bracket. Hopefully it doesn't, because we're gonna put that other adapter thing, the distribution block for the power. And another thing is that this is a direct bolt in. The plug, it plugs right in. Power, you can run it to this and you should be good. But on this one you have the one wire setup. So this would have to go here to the power, and then this one would go to ignition switch, which we did order the plug, the female plug, the female side, which would be here, because we want a little adapter, pigtail, whatever, just to make things a little cleaner. We don't want to cut the harness on the truck, so we're gonna wire this one directly to the plug. Even though it's just gonna be one pin, we're gonna either put some hot glue or something on the back side, so we could just clip it in and clip it into this side. I think it'll just be a lot cleaner like that. So now time to slide this one in. Oh, let's see. So back here, you can see this one, 120. I don't know if you guys can see it. Right there, 120 amp. Yeah, max 133 amp. So hopefully it fits. It looks perfect right there. Now the only problem would be the top bracket, the top little arm that goes to this bolt right here. So let me slide this one in place, and then we'll see what we have to mess with once it's up there. All right, so we ran into our first little issue. Remember how I told you guys that this one was directly across from the bottom hole? So it lines up differently on this bracket. I don't know if we can bend this up a little bit. If we're able to bend it a little bit, let me see, we might have very little adjustment. Yeah, that's not gonna work actually, because the alternator is actually hitting this other bracket back here. So there would be like not even half an inch of adjustment. Yeah, it's not gonna work. So we will be having to order the adapter bracket, which is this. I'm gonna show you guys what came with the alternator. So this bracket was included with the alternator, and I believe this is to install it something like this. Have a little more adjustment, well, a lot more adjustment actually. So you bolt this side to the alternator and then this side to the bracket. But we don't want to be running extra stuff on the truck. As is, it's pretty cluttered in here with a bunch of stuff. So we will just be ordering that bracket. It's like $100. You can find it online for the 1-wire alternators. And hopefully we don't have any issues with the power, because I don't know if you guys can see. Let me see. Try to put the camera as close as possible to the power right there. You guys can see that that's really close to this hose, and the clamp on this hose actually sticks out right here. So that might be an issue. If we get the bracket and it's about right there, then we should be able to clear it, hopefully. Let me throw that radiator hose on. Okay, so I threw the hose on just on the top side, because that's the side that I'm worried about the most. And you see how close that comes to that little bolt? Maybe if we flip that, I don't know, I have to figure out a way to be able to tighten that bolt right there, tensioner bolt on the clamp, so it won't interfere with the radiator, with the alternator, sorry, because the power is like right there, and the distribution block is gonna most likely come in contact with that, unless we run the cables this way, which I really would like to avoid. I just think it's gonna look janky, and it's gonna be super close to the header and all that. I would much rather run them through here, through the front, up here, but we have to figure this out once we get the other bracket in the mail. That alternator was like $260, no, actually, sorry, $360, and we'll have to order the bracket, which is $100. So I'm gonna try to figure out that clamp situation right now, and then I'm gonna go inside the house, order the bracket, and then we'll see. Once it gets here, we'll install the little arm and we'll go from there. I don't think there's anything else I could do here, unless I was to find another one of these brackets, cut it and weld it onto this, and then, you know, do all that. But I think I'd rather just buy it. So put you guys back on in a couple of days. What is up, YouTube? I'm not gonna lie to you, it's been a couple of weeks. We've been so busy with other stuff that we finally got around to getting back on the Toyota pickup. But basically these came in yesterday in the afternoon, so we're gonna throw these on the charger. Got these from Excess Power. Like I said before, we're gonna run 2 of these D2400. This is the only one I carried back here. The other one's still inside the house, but I'll pull it out of the box for you guys. Put it on top of styrofoam. These things are pretty heavy. It's a D2400. And those are the specs right there. And this also came in the mail. This came in a couple of weeks ago from Trail Gear. This is the 1-wire bracket. So it comes with 1 nut and 2 bolts. No instructions at all. So we're gonna go ahead and figure this out together, I guess. And this. So on the truck, the alternator actually sits here, which is fine. This bracket I guess we wouldn't need, but we're gonna run it either way. This is the problem that we were having. So let me show you how this looks on the truck. So here in the truck, this bracket, I don't know if you guys could see it right there. I'm tapping it with the top, but the tip of this, it should go all the way up. So you see how this is longer? It's gonna give us more reach for the alternator to bolt onto. So I'm not gonna bore you guys. I'm gonna just go ahead and clean this, scuff it real quick, and throw some black paint. Has some part numbers right there on both brackets. And then we're gonna go ahead and remove the bottom bracket and try to figure that out once all this has some paint on it. While we let that dry, as the first coat, this is what came with the battery 2 stickers. The warranty, 3-year warranty paperwork, and a spec sheet. And it also came with these little screws for the terminals. So they have an option of purchasing the little brass pieces that go up here, but we're not gonna use those because we have the little custom pieces that we showed you guys. These work pretty good for us, so we're gonna run these. And we're gonna use this charger right here that we got from Walmart. So it comes with 2 bolts for these little washers and 2 lock washers. We're just gonna use the nuts for now, just so we could hook up the charger. And I'm gonna show you guys where the battery sits at right now, straight out of the box. $13.2. Now I'm gonna hook it up to the charger real quick. This charger was like 30 bucks and I think it works pretty good. We've charged, I forgot what battery, oh, the one in the Camaro. We hooked up the Camaro to this charger and it did pretty good. We have a mess right now, so gotta get this cleaned up a little bit. See, it's green. It's on 12 volts. AGM right there. Once that goes green, then we're good to go. We're gonna wait for the brackets to finish drying and then I'll put you guys back on. Hopefully by then both batteries are charged. So it's the next day. This is what the bracket looks like. We're gonna clean up these little spots if we end up using this bracket, because we just ran into a little issue. And these are the bolts that came with it. I think this goes here. It's the only place that it would kind of work. And then it has this bolt, which I don't know what this is for. I don't know if it's for this or it fits for this bracket so that we can mount it to the engine block up here. I'm not sure yet. We're gonna figure that out. But in order to mount this, since this truck has power steering, we're gonna have to remove this bracket to get the stock little arm off. So I'm about to remove this bracket right here, back off this bolt, remove this one, and I think these two 13s right there, and that should come off. But that's not the issue. The issue that we're having is this. So you can see that there's like at least 1/4 of an inch of material on the actual alternator that won't let this bracket work. Now the only thing, so this alternator was the old one on the truck. It's a 120. The new alternator fit on the stock bracket. We had to cut the little piece off of the bracket. I don't know if you guys seen it on the blue truck, but anyways, we made it work with this alternator. So this one isn't working for us. Worst case scenario, we'll use the stock bracket on the bottom and then this on top, which this is actually the only thing we needed, but I don't think they sell this by itself. So we'll figure that out right now, but I'm gonna go ahead and remove this just so I could get this on there. All right, so this is getting kind of out of hand. Just to install that, we had to remove this. We removed the power steering pump because we have to get that bracket out. And to get that bracket out, there's a couple of bolts running it to the block, so we have to remove that bracket for the power steering pump, which I'm gonna do next. Looks like there is 3, maybe 4 or 14 bolts going to the block. It's a hassle just to install that. I thought it was just gonna be one bolt, which is here and it's loose already, but it's not only that, there's more stuff to it. So this is the bracket that I just removed from the power steering pump, or the one that actually holds the power steering pump to the block. And then this is the alternator little arm thing that we had to remove. So it has this long bolt right here, and then the one that I just dropped that goes here to the block. It's this smaller one. So just a little side-by-side comparison. You can see how much longer this upper arm is. I'm not sure if this bolt should go here. I'm gonna try to use the original bolt, see if it works. All right, so real quick, I used the factory bolt that goes to the block, to the front of the block. And this factory ground for the alternator usually goes on the bracket, on these upper bolts up here, from what I've seen. But now what we're gonna do, since we're not gonna use this bolt hole anymore, I am going to try to put it, I can show you guys. Right here, you see the thing moving? I'm gonna try to bolt it up to this dipstick bolt, just to give it a little more slack and out of the way. I don't think it's gonna interfere or affect anything. I'm just gonna clean all this up, clean up the block right here with the wire brush, and then bolt this down to that. And then I'm gonna test, well, not test fit, but bolt up the alternator. And now I'll put you guys back on just to make sure it's all gonna fit properly before I put the power steering pump back on. All right, so the factory ground is back over here on the oil dipstick, and the bracket is on. You can see now we have more movement on the alternator. It's getting stuck, but you can see all that movement. But obviously we can't go too far because of the steering box. That's what it's hitting before it even maxes out. Probably like 1 inch more for it to max out. And it looks like it's gonna work. But now, before we bolt everything up, I will have to remove the lower bracket. I think I just want to clean up the mounting points real good. Well, I don't know if I should just leave it like that. No, probably, I guess I'm just gonna, since I'm here already, I'm just gonna go ahead and remove it. Wire brush the mounting, well, not the, yeah, the mounting bolts right here before I bolt everything back up, just so I could have like a good contact with the engine block to make good ground. And then we'll bolt everything up, and we have to put the serpentine belt on the alternator before anything else, because we have to tighten this bolt once it's all where we want it, because if we don't, we're gonna have to remove the power steering pump and do all that all over again. So if you don't have a power steering pump on your truck, it's gonna be way easier, obviously, to get to that bolt, to get the other little bracket off, and you shouldn't have a problem. So we use the factory bolt for this mounting thing right here. This is the bolt that's holding the ground now with the dipstick, and this is the little bracket that we removed. I don't know what we're gonna do with this bolt. Maybe we could use it for something else, I'm not sure, but I'm gonna get to removing the alternator once again. I got the bracket off, and the alternator's all dirty already, but this is what I'm talking about. So you see how this one fits on here pretty much perfect. Now on this one, it's about, I want to say like 1/4 of an inch off, so it's a whole lot of space. If I think, no, even if this was in here, there'll be a big gap, but yeah, that's the little issue right there. So we just basically painted this and ordered it for no reason, but we couldn't find that little arm on its own by itself, so we decided to order the whole bracket. I guess we're just gonna put it on our parts bin. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hit this with the wire wheel, this with the wire wheel, this and this, and then the inside of this, clean it up real good, clean this up real good, this and this, because hopefully, in my head, I think that would be like a better ground to the block. Just clean up all that corrosion and paint and stuff. I'm not even gonna bother painting this, but yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that, put the alternator back in, bolt everything up, get the belt on here and everything, and then show you guys what it looks like before I put the power steering pump back on. So we're running into a huge issue. The alternator is sticking out forward like about 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 inch. You can see the serpentine belt's like at a big angle, it's way off. And also we need a longer serpentine belt so the alternator could sit, instead of sitting here, well, the bolt, you see this mounting bolt, we want it like about 1 inch off, maybe 1.5 inches, so that we could get this stud further out here and we could be able to connect to it, because it's right, like really close to the neck. This is as far as it would go. So that's our little issue right now. I'm gonna go ahead and remove this off camera once again, figure out what we're gonna do. We're mocking this one up. I'll show you guys real quick, and I'm probably going to end the video here just so it won't be super extra long. But we mocked this up, and the mounting point is the same as it is on the stock bracket. The thing is the alternator. I don't know which alternator this is, but yeah, it's not gonna work with this setup. So I'm thinking we're gonna have to make it work one way or another. So far, the idea that we're having right now is to cut this bracket. I'm gonna take this off real quick, but to cut this bracket, I'm gonna have to measure right now, but I'm gonna cut maybe like 1/2 inch off, hopefully get a straight cut, and then space out the alternator towards the back and put some washers up here in the front, so that way the whole thing could shift back It doesn't look like it will have any issues, but I also have to check that up there on top. But down here we're good. I just have to cut maybe like up to like right here, and yeah, like I said, space it up from the front, put some washers, move the alternator back, and then bolt it back up, and hopefully that will work. I would do that to this bracket, but this one doesn't. This one, there's not a lot of material to shave off. I would literally have to cut this little leg off and move it back and then space it, but I don't know, I'm not sure. I think we're just better off with the original alternator bracket. Now everything has to come back off. So we actually had finished the video, but then we kept working on it, so that's why this clip is just thrown in here. We cut 1/2 inch off of this bracket roughly, and we pulled, so that pulled this alternator back, so now it lines up a little better. We have some play down there, so we're gonna just use washers either behind the bracket or in front, whatever we need. I'm about to show you guys what we did, but we just wanted to test fit it. We're also gonna have to use a spacer up here on this bolt. So if this bolt works for that, oh, it doesn't. We're gonna have to use a longer bolt for that. So we're gonna have to use some spacers up here for this, and we're gonna have to grind down the bracket a little bit because it rubs. So we don't have much adjustment right now, but you can see. And also this stud right here is a little more out the way. You can see now my finger fits through there. Sorry, it's a little hard to get it in the frame, but yeah, it lines up a little better. We still got to mess with it. We just wanted to throw it back on here so that we could see if it worked, and it pretty much does. We also have to get a longer belt, like I said before, so I'm gonna have to knock all this back out, and I'll put you guys back on to show you what I'm talking about. So this is what we cut off. You can see we chopped this whole piece off. Actually, it was like this. And right now, when we had it mocked up, we put it up here in the front, so it spaced it out a little too much. I think we would have knocked out a little less, like exactly 1/2 inch or so. It would have been perfectly lined up. But I mean, we still got some wiggle room. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna grind this off so the alternator could go up a little bit, because it's having trouble going up. So I'm gonna do that. And what else I'm gonna get some washers from this bolt, because this is what's gonna center the alternator. What else? I think that's pretty much it for this video. We ended up removing the clutch fan, the shroud, and all that, just to get a little more room. It's really tight in here, and we have this little arm in there still, but I think this was our best thing to do so far, because that would have involved cutting and welding and all that, and this is just cutting pretty much. We put it on the, cut it with the grinder, and then we'll clean this up a little bit, but we have to knock that whole piece off. I'm gonna end up doing that right now, and then going to AutoZone. Once we get back, hopefully we start the video either tomorrow or the day after, or whatever, so we could continue this installation, which I didn't think was gonna be this bad, but it is. So this is what I'm talking about. It has no, oh, my bad, it has no room to like move up anymore. So yeah, so once again, last night we ended the video with the plans of spacing out the alternator, and we actually did it. But this time we are gonna end the video. Just wanted to show you guys what we did. So right here, as you can see, we put a aluminum spacer. We have found these spacers at the junkyard, so they worked for this. We just had to cut it, grind it down a little bit to make it fit, and we have one washer right here, right in the front. That's just to get this belt aligned. We're using the, I think this is the power steering pump belt. It's the longer one, so we just have it zip tied right here, just so that we could see if it was straight, and it looks pretty straight to us. So down here, that's all we did. Cut this, put the spacer, spaced it off in the front a little bit just to get it aligned. It is pretty much maxed out right there, because you can see right here it's kind of like close to this for the steering box. So that's one thing. Now let's go to the top. So up here we put a lot of washers. Well, not a lot, we put 5 washers between the bracket and the alternator to fill in that gap, make up for the spacing. There's that arm. We still have a lot of adjustment on the arm, but even if we had that adjustment where we could pull it all the way towards the steering box, it wouldn't work due to the steering box being right there. And then now we have this plug, which I'm gonna show you guys what we're gonna do right now. But basically you would just do the yellow to the cable in here, the yellow one, and the blue cable to the power. And we thought we were gonna be able to use this distribution block for the power from Sky High, but it's too bulky right there. So what I'm thinking of doing is using this one, and I don't know how we were gonna run the power, but it's a little less bulky, and we could just put it on here like that. See if I could get it in here. Basically like that. And then have the 2 cables coming in from here, just doing a 90 and bolting up to the distribution block. I don't know why this power thing is like that, but I guess on these type of alternators that we've seen a bunch high output, they have it right on top. The problem is this rubber hose right here. If this wasn't here, we would have no problems at all with the power and the alternator. But yeah, that's the issue, that rubber hose. And what else? Oh, I'm gonna show you guys the other plug. So we ordered this plug from Team 269. So it's basically an adapter plug. This is the one that's on the truck, and this is the male side to it. So what we're gonna do, we're just kind of, the OCD kicks in sometimes. We're gonna do that yellow cable to the blue one here, which would be the yellow one on the plug right there, and just plug it up. I mean, I think it's kind of dumb, but we don't want to cut the original plug, just in case if we ever decide to go back to the original alternator, we don't want to have that issue. So just go like that, and then the yellow cable right there, we'll just plug it up to this. It's kind of hard, and it sucks that this camera can't zoom in. I think, yeah, you can't zoom in once you're recording. But anyway, so the yellow cable is gonna go to that blue one. We're gonna chop off this harness. This blue cable is gonna go to power, and then that'll be done for the harness side. We'll have to figure this out. And also the belt. So for the next video, hopefully we have the belt size correct. The belt, what else? I think that's it. I don't have that much room over there. Make sure to check us out on Instagram at Yonke_OXC Films. I will leave that in the description down below, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.